And welcome all. Welcome to our... what shall we say we call this from this point onwards? Our sanctuary. For now, we shall be playing The Legend of Heroes, Trails of Cold Steel 1. I plan on doing them all for your personal enjoyment, and what we are going to be doing is we shall be playing it Nightmare mode right from the start. For now, enjoy what you can watch and enjoy what you can hear. Oh, looks like I still have it set to Japanese. I'm going to change that as soon as I get a chance, so that way you all do not have to worry about having to read. I'm sorry about the thing in the top corner. I seem to have forgotten to turn off notifications. Okay, we now have control. So before I happen to forget, do this for some ease for people who have trouble with the reading. I will do a second playthrough with the Japanese voices instead later on down the road, due to the fact that I prefer the Japanese because it seems to portray a bit more emotions. But with that, we now have control of our characters. As you can see, right now we have 6 characters that we are currently using. This right here is an orbital station, used to save and, well, not save, rest and later on more. But since we have not started any battles, we do not need to worry about that.
Here they come. They look just like that thing we fought during our field study. Mechanical monstrosities. Save the talking for later. We need to take these things out.
Got it! Winds, give us your blessing.
My turn.
Now, for those of you watching right now, if you look to the left side, you will see a battle order. And you'll see that 50 points CP up. CP is combat points, if I recall correctly. And it allows you to use special abilities, such as these and this. But for now, we will not need to worry too much about that. For now, all we have to do is just attack everything and kill it all. Some abilities actually have certain ranges, like this. That was a follow-up attack system. It gives you bonuses that you can end up using later on. These are magic attacks in a sense that you can end up using. That would get described a little bit later on as we progress. But for right now, this is what we have. I will go into further detail on those later. For now, this part of the game does not matter at this point in time, so...
My turn.
My turn.
My turn.
My turn.
My turn. Leave it to me. There. You're open. There. My turn.
My turn.
Okay, as you see there, I just landed on something called 0 Arts. That allows me to be able to use any of these without a cost. You can also adjust where you want to end up attacking, so you can find a more optimal attack route. It looks like almost no matter which one I attack with that one, I'll end up just only getting one enemy. So we'll just attack with this one.
Very well. All right. There.
As you saw there, I just froze him. Freeze makes characters unable to move for a set amount of turns. And not only that, once their turns are passing, they will end up taking a set amount of damage. Depending on the enemy, the freeze can last for multiple turns, but for big enemies or bosses, they will only last one if they even manage to hit.
Very well. It's my turn.
Welcome, Paige, and I'm glad to see that you like how the game looks. The game's graphics get a little bit better as time goes on, so... As that just stated, when an attack misses, the target will counterattack if the attacker is in range. Some characters have longer range than others. So the ones I'm using right now, 3 of them have standard close range. The female with the red head has both a gun and a sword, so she is more mid-range.
My turn.
Ah, heavens. I shall fulfill my duty as a noble.
Since I am doing this on nightmare mode, it takes a bit longer to actually progress.
Those things were the same as the one we fought outside the granite.
It seems a large number of them are on the loose inside the fortress. I'm guessing that's what got the soldiers we just saw too.
So these are archaisms.
Are you certain, Instructor? Yeah, they're a kind of autonomous weapon made by a rather... You need to hurry, but keep your wits about you.
Oops, my bad. Sorry. I pressed the X button a little too early there. I might have a habit of doing that rather frequently. This game, unfortunately, unlike the other ones, does not have an auto function. So... And with that, we get to move on again. We can also sprint as well, as you can see. We can also, if we do this right, gain advantages by attacking certain enemies from behind. It gives us extra CP points, and it will allow us to have more turns before them.
Here we go.
Very well.
If you notice what it just said on the right side, how it said Scouter, that means I have completed their, in a sense, bestiary. So I have all their information already available.
Very well.
Leave it to me.
Okay.
Go.
Very well.
Oh, there it is. I was trying to figure out which button was the turbo again.
Fulfill my duty as a noble.
That way we can speed up just a little bit here.
You're in my way.
My turn.
As you see there, I did not get it, but for the sake of speeding through this prologue, let us just hurry it up a little bit.
Here we go. There. Go.
And one for me.
All right.
Okay, if you guys notice that, I just landed on a crit. That means that whatever attack I do this moment will end up automatically being a critical hit. Doesn't matter which one it is, if it lands on this node, it's automatically a crit. So let's see if I can align for all three of these enemies. And strike them hard.
Leave it to me.
And with that, that just leaves this one. The key to battle in this game is watching the turn log, so that way you know what's coming up, whose turn is when, and it also ends up allowing you the opportunity to actually, well, have an edge in battle.
My turn.
Very well.
Leave it to me. There.
Leave it to me.
Very well.
Okay.
All right. There. Time's precious. We should hurry.
Okay, so as you guys see, I've actually taken a little bit of damage. So something I'm going to do right now is I'm going to swap some characters around a little. We cannot go this way. And we cannot access this door right now. So all we can do, speaking of which, while you're playing this game, make sure to search for these. Breakable objects such as crates, pots, and stuff like that will end up holding either items that you can use in battle, or as you saw just now, Sepith, which is the game's currency. Right there, I have just ended up saving, or resting. And right now, I will do this. I will save the game real quick. Since I am doing this on Nightmare difficulty, a certain option within battle is no longer available to me. Let's turn off turbo for a minute.
Those are...
The railway vents. They're enormous.
Damn! How did they manage to get them prepped so fast? Don't tell me they're just gonna let them rip without even setting a target!
Instructor!
They're certainly not shy about bringing out the big guns.
Ugh, we don't have time for this!
Here is our first boss battle of the game.
Right there with you.
Let's send these creeps to the scrap heap.
We'll have to fight our way through.
Okay. Now, these are going to be the types of enemies you're going to want to keep your eyes on. The minor ones are really nothing to worry about, but the bosses that you encounter are more deadly than most. So, here is where I will explain how the menu ends up working on this. If you end up looking at the elemental efficacy, it's saying that this enemy will take more damage from earth attacks, earth elemental. Standard water, fire, and wind, which blue is water, fire is red, wind is green. Those will take average damage. If we look at the status efficacy, this enemy is unable to be poisoned, sealed, which is this game's version of paralysis, mute, it cannot be put to sleep, it cannot be petrified, it cannot be hit with a death blow strike, cannot be put in nightmare state, and it cannot be vanished. I will explain some of those at a later point, since right now they do not really matter. But I am able to blind, I am able to burn, freeze, faint, confuse, delay, and I can lower their stats. Now, the reason the numbers all are different is because for blind, burn, freeze, delay, and stat down, keep those numbers in mind real quick and I will explain them. So, if you look right here, this says seal 90%. Now, they cannot be sealed, but the reason it says that is if the seal said anything other than 0, let's just say that skill I showed was actually afflicting blind. Because it had a 90%, it would have a pure 90% chance to blind it. Now, if I were to end up saying that the seal had 20% like the feint, you would have to divide the 90 by 20. But to make it easier to understand, let's go to the confuse, which is a bare 50. If I used that skill and I could seal it and it had a 50 point of confusion rate, that would mean I'd have a 45% chance to confuse. But for now, there's no need to worry on that one. So let us do this.
My turn.
Arc slash. You saw it said resisted, so that means it didn't work. So for now, let's do this.
I've got it.
I know you already saw it, but I did that to get the bestiary complete. I know there's 2 enemies, but I wasn't sure if I'd be able to actually get the bestiary within time. So let us do an arc slash again.
My turn.
Let us smack it. Okay, so now I had a defense down. So now, not like it really matters too much, but I'm going to do this.
Here we go.
And now that I've landed on a 0 arts, 0 arts slots are where you would like to use some of your stronger hitting attacks. So for something like this, let's see. Let us do Flame Tongue, the strongest fire elemental that this character has equipped. And we got the burn. Nice. For this character, we'll just continue to smack it.
Leave it to me.
The ADF means magic defense down. So now, if you look at the status effects that I put onto this character, in case you're wondering, that white one right there is Insight. Insight is a skill that happens to increase evasion rate. So let us keep smacking this one for now. Now, I'm going to do something that is going to interrupt the turn order somewhat. If you look right in between the 2 characters on the left side of the screen, you will see that both the enemies have turns in between one of them. I'm going to do something that might be a little bit risky, but in the end will probably end up benefiting a bit more.
Dance, please.
I am going to interrupt the turn order and use Plasma Storm, and then hopefully take out at least one of these 2. Interrupting the turn order like this will cause your character to take a later turn. But sometimes it can come in handy due to the fact that some enemies can be a bit more dangerous. So the sooner you take care of them, the better it is for you.
Of course.
Okay, now, something to note here. This enemy over here is now charging a magic attack. Having that magic attack go off will not end up being beneficial. I'm not going to be able to kill it yet, but I'll deal a good chunk of damage. We shall see how hard this really hits me. My characters are pretty good on health, so they should survive. Although, now... what position are my characters in? Okay, so if you look closely, you can see these 2 are moving. My other 2 characters have just been petrified. Which means now, on each turn that they get attacked, there's a chance that they will end up being insta-KO'd. And we cannot have that. So, we will do this.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
And we will do it again for her.
Now.
You have my thanks.
Okay.
And now, victory is well within sight.
My turn.
Sorry, everyone.
Okay, so Shockwave Blast, not that big of a problem. This fight does not really matter at this point in time anyway.
Burning daylight.
All that matters is just getting through this part of the prologue. So here we go, everybody.
A self-destruct mechanism. Is the cowardice and no bounds?
We're running out of time. I'm gonna go on ahead. Follow me as soon as you're sure it's safe to.
Railway guns.
Oh no, no!
Don't!
Now, as I stated, this part you do not have to worry about. You will see why later. But, standard prologue, let us get on with the actual beginning of the game. Right now it is giving you the characters that are actually showing up in the game. This is the reason why I said do not worry about that part. Because how that played out is not necessarily how it will play out in this portion. So there's no need to worry about that right now because we have a long way before that.
Railways wishes to thank all passengers for their patronage. This train is bound for Bereahard via Keldic. The next stop is Trista. We will be stopped at Trista for 1 minute. When disembarking, please ensure no belongings are left behind.
Almost there.
really in full bloom here, huh? Back home, there was still so much snow on the ground, I hardly even realized it. Those little floats. Never seen so many plastic boats. I'll be spending the next 2 years here. Wonder how long it'll be before I think of it as home. But yeah, I think I'm going to like it.
There's quite a few comical moments like that in this game. Well, in all of
Are
them.
you okay? I should have picked a better place to take you, Siri.
Don't worry about it. I should have been paying more attention to where I was going instead of gawking at the flowers. It's really a pretty town, though, isn't it? Just like a postcard.
Yeah, I guess that's the magic of springtime for you. I hope everything in your case is okay.
Oh, don't worry about that. It'll be fine. Hey, you've got the red uniform too, huh?
Yeah, but now that you mention it, almost everyone else on the train had a green jacket. One of the few I've seen in red. I didn't really think about it until now. I just put on the uniform they sent me.
I hadn't given it much thought until I got here either. And yeah, like you said, there have been a few others sporting them too, so I doubt it's a mistake. Maybe it means we'll end up being classmates. Anyway, I should get going. I've got a feeling we'll see each other again at the entrance ceremony, though.
I totally forgot to ask her name. Oh well, I'm sure we'll run into each other later. She's right, though. It is weird that there are so few of us around, or even enough to make it classy. That ornament they sent in the uniform is pretty strange, too. It sure looks a lot fancier than your standard issue ornament, that's for sure. Guess there's no point in racking my brain over it. Someone will probably explain it during orientation. Thors Military Academy is in the north side of town. I've still got some time to look around before the entrance ceremony, but it'd be pretty awkward to be late the first day.
The way to Thors. Events that occur during the story are automatically recorded in this section. You can access both by pressing the touchpad button or by choosing the notes section in the camp menu, then flipping through the various tabs. Confirm your current objective by pressing the square button to access the navigation screen. Now, we have control in a much more calm and peaceful area. So for now, let's give you guys a tour of Trista. Don't remember if they were actually going to do that within the story, since I haven't played this in a good couple months, but here is a building called Radio Trista, as you can see. Basically just a simple radio station, nothing more than that. At least not at the moment. This, standard cafe. Come here, get a cup of coffee, or other drinks. Small park right here.
Oh hey, it looks like there's even a little park here. Seems like the perfect spot to catch a breather with all these shops around.
And here we have one of my favorite characters.
Is she a new student? She's got the uniform. The ceremony's going to be starting soon. Maybe I should wake her up.
Guess I better go.
She's sure a strange one. Like a stray cat or something. If she's headed to the school, I'd say that's my cue to pick up the pace.
We have a nice little flower shop sitting right here. Bookstore. These are going to be the standard general stores that you would end up seeing around. And lastly, for now, we have a pawn shop. I'll go more into detail with that later on. So you guys can see there's a nice little river right here. And I'm sure you guys noticed the bubbling or rippling water. That is going to be a future fishing spot, which I'll go into fishing later once it's introduced, so no need to worry about that right now. See all the children. Here's a church.
I shall take my leave here, Melody. I pray you find victory here in both your studies and your training.
Thank you, Eclipse. I'm leaving everything in your hands while Father is away.
Understood, Milady. Please excuse my rudeness, youngster. It truly is a splendid day, is it not? The start of a new chapter in the lives of so many promising youths. Allow me to express my sincerest congratulations on your admittance into this fine academic institution.
Oh. Thank you very much. I'm guessing he's a butler? He certainly looks the part. That means the girl with him must have been a noble. She did have a certain dignity about her. Or she's from a famous military family or something.
And that is the academy that we have enrolled at. Thors Military Academy. Right there is one of the dormitories, and right there is the other. Now, if you keep in mind on what he said about noble, that should give you a decent idea of how the students are placed around. Higher up, nobility. Lower, commoner. It's a very unfortunate thing that that kind of class system is in place, but it works well for the story itself.
So this is it. Thors Military Academy. Founded by the legendary Emperor Dracos himself.
Thank you for your patience. We've arrived at the academy.
Much obliged.
Yes, Paige, that silver-haired girl is very adorable. But don't let looks deceive you. There's a lot more to it. Every single character that we have seen so far has their own little intricacies about them.
Standing out too much.
What so?
This isn't open for debate. Take whatever rest you need, then return to Berea Hard.
As you wish. Shall we depart, please? Time spent in these hallowed halls we all live with. Stay close.
Orbital limousine. Wide for its fanciest models, too. Looks like even Harbonia's upper crust sent their children here.
Welcome to Thors Military Academy. Let's see. Yes, you're the last of them. That Green Schwarzer, right?
Yes, it's me. It's a pleasure to meet you. But how do you know me?
It's a long story. Don't sweat the details right now.
Is that your weapon you got wrapped up? I'll need to hold on to that for the time being. Oh, right. You mentioned something about that in the guidebook. Thanks. We should be able to return it to you before long. Hardly even miss it.
Entrance ceremony is being held in the auditorium. Just head straight back. You can't miss it. Anyway, I hope you enjoy your first day at Thors.
Glad to have you. Hope these next 2 years will be a fruitful time. I guess those 2 must be 7 years. That girl definitely looked younger than me, though. What was that about me being the last? I'm not seriously the very last student to check in, am I? Sounds like it's about time for the ceremony to start, bro. Well, here's to the start of a great 2 years.
Now, if I may, I'd like to say a few words in closing about this Academy's illustrious history. Thors Military Academy was founded almost 220 years ago. Its founder, as I'm sure you're all aware, was none other than the great Emperor Dracos. The very same emperor who ended the War of the Lions and returned prosperity to the Erebonian Empire. 30 years after becoming Emperor, in the later years of his life, he opened the doors of this institution. It was to be a place where young people like yourselves could learn the art of war. But with the mechanization of the military, many of our graduates now pursue careers outside the army. Our mission, however, remains the same: to prepare our students to fulfill Emperor Draco's famous mandate. Arise, O youth, and become the foundation of the world. Though much has happened these past 2¼ centuries, the world is still the domain of the young. Yet still the question remains: what qualities must one possess to become a part of its foundation? I hope this credo will serve as a guide and an inspiration to you during your 2 years at this academy. Go forth, my students. The world awaits the great things you will one day accomplish.
The foundation of the world, huh?
No pressure, right?
No kidding. No, this is Draco's line we're talking about. He didn't earn his nickname by taking the easy road. Guess we've got more to worry about than just passing exams, huh?
I guess we do. I'm Elliot Craig. Nice to meet you.
Green Schwarzer. Hey, looks like we're sporting the same school fashion.
Yeah. No idea what their red uniform is supposed to mean, though. Most of the other students are wearing green. Well, except for the ones in the white uniforms. Those must be the nobles.
Looks that way, though.
Something wrong?
Nah, just thinking to myself.
And that brings us to the close of Thors' 215th entrance ceremony. Next, please proceed to the class designated in your guidebook. There, you will go over the school rules as well as your class's curriculum. That is all. Dismissed!
The class designated in our guidebook? I don't remember seeing anything like that.
There wasn't any information on that in mine either. I just assumed they'd tell us where to go after the ceremony.
All right! Students in red uniforms, if I can have your attention, please. By now, you're probably all confused. Where's my class assignment, you're probably thinking. That's perfectly understandable. Your situation is a little more complicated than the other students. But before I explain, I'd like all of you to join me for a special orienteering exercise.
Did you mean an orientation exercise?
Worry not. Everything will be made clear soon enough. Now, right this way.
Looks like we're gonna have to follow her if we want any answers.
What do you think this is all about?
I have no idea. We're not going to accomplish anything just standing around here. We should go with her.
This place.
Why is there a building this dilapidated on campus? Looks like it should have been torn down ages ago.
What does she even want us to do here?
Is she ever gonna tell us what's going on?
I suppose we'll just have to go inside and see for ourselves what awaits us.
This place looks like some old haunted mansion or something.
Now that you mention it, it kind of does. I think this is everyone I've seen with the red uniform so far. I guess we really are part of the same class then.
So, these are our new underclassmen, huh?
Yeah. They've got a different set of hoops to jump through than we do. I'm just happy all our work's paying off. I'd hate to have put in a year's worth of effort for nothing.
Ain't that the truth? Wait, when did you do any work? You were just slacking off the whole time.
Says the master slacker. Still, looks like Elisa's got some stiff competition. Quite a bevy of beauties they've got there. And I'm looking forward to getting intimately acquainted with everyone.
Oh, you know one of them? What? No, not these ones too. Stop flirting with every damn girl you lay eyes on. Do you have any idea how many guys at the school have gotten their hearts broken because of your libido? Did you just stare at me? You did, didn't you?
Come on now, no fighting, you two.
Well, look who finally made it. Nice work.
You got our little chickadees all sorted out, I think.
Yep, they're all bright-eyed and ready to go. So from here on out, we're gonna have to give in all we've got to support this fledgling class.
Now you sound the part when the student comes president.
Guess she's going all in.
Well, they'd be in for a pretty rough time if we didn't help out a little. At least to start with, anyway. Everything's ready over there, right?
You betcha. Just like the instructor asked. Can't help but feel a little sorry for them, though.
Same here. They've got no idea what they're being tossed into. The class they've been picked for didn't even exist before this year. Guess all we can do is watch and see what they're made of, right?
Old schoolhouse, first floor.
The name's Sarah Valstein. I'm the instructor in charge of Class 7, which means you get the pleasure of seeing me all year. Glad to finally meet you.
Class 7?
Us?
I'm not sure I understand. I wasn't told anything about this enrollment.
Excuse me, Instructor Sarah? I was under the impression that there were only 5 classes at this academy, and that students were split among them based on their social class and home region.
Right you are, Miss Top Scorer on the Thors entrance exam. Students in each year are divided into 5 classes, 2 for the nobility and 3 for commoners. And it's been that way for ages, right up through last year. But this year, we decided to shake things up a little.
What do you...
We now have a 6th class, fittingly titled Class 7. And in Class 7, we recognize no distinction between nobles and commoners.
Wait, you just jumped straight from 5 to 7?
You're really putting nobles and commoners in the same class?
This must be some kind of joke. And why is this the first I've heard of it?
Well,
Who are you again?
Obvious Regulus. And with all due respect, Instructor, it's ludicrous to intermix nobles and commoners like this. Was I supposed to spend my next 2 years shoulder to shoulder with those arrogant, stuck-up hedonists?
You do know I'm not the one who made the decision, right? Besides, what's the big deal anyway? You're all kids. Can't you all just get along or something?
Just get along? And how would you propose we do that? What's your problem?
Oh, nothing much. I just find the irony of your behavior rather humorous.
Is that so? It seems the scion of some noble house has left the comfort of his mansion to grace the unwashed masses with his wisdom. Please, milord, do share your esteemed name with us so I can give you all the respect you deserve.
Usus Alvarea. Not that I'd expect the name of an arrogant, stuck-up hedonist to lodge itself in that hard head of yours.
He's from one of the 4 great houses.
The son of Duke of Alvarea, Lord of the Kreutzer province in the southeast.
Well, you don't get much more noble than that.
Interesting. I'd heard the rumors.
I love when she does that. She just doesn't give a crap.
Do you expect me to be impressed? Your family lineage means nothing to me. I'll never bend my knee to the likes of...
Okay, that's enough. I'm sure a couple of you have a few grievances, but now's not the time. I'll hear your complaints later. Right now, you've got your orienteering exercise, and far be it for me to keep you from our fun little icebreaker. You mentioned this orienteering exercise earlier. What exactly does that involve? It's a form of outdoor competition, isn't it? Something like a cross between a map-reading exercise and a scavenger hunt?
Is that why they asked us to hand over our weapons at the gate?
Nothing gets by you, does it?
Get ready for comical moment number 2.
But I don't want to spoil the fun, so let's get started, shall we?
What?
Oh, crap. What?
Come on, Fee. No cheating. You're going with them and that's that. What's the point in having an icebreaker if you don't make a couple of new friends?
Hey.
What just happened?
The floor gave out from under us.
I can't believe I fell for such an obvious trap.
This must mean there's a series of catacombs beneath the school grounds then? What does that woman think she's playing at?
I thought my heart was going to jump out of my chest. Hey, Reen, are you... okay?
Small little incident.
She can see them.
Oh, what happened?
This is a bit awkward. I'm really sorry about that. Still, I'm just glad you're okay. That's what's really important here, right?
It's kind of sad that such an innocent little accident happened there.
Wow. It's just not your day, is it?
Well, now that I've hit the bottom, things can only improve. I hope. What is this place anyway?
I was wondering the same thing. We should check out those tables.
Is this?
be some sort of portable ornament.
Right you are. These handy little devices are a special kind of battle ornament.
Is that Miss Valentine?
So, these devices have built-in communications functionality then?
Wait, don't tell me these things are...
New model battle ornaments made through a partnership between the Epstein Foundation and Ryder Company. Newly made 5th generation battle ornaments, in fact. They're called Arcus.
Marcus.
So these are battle ornaments. That means they'll allow us to use arts, right?
Sure will. Just set a quartz into one of its slots and you can use arts all the live long day. Which is why I prepared some quartz for each and every one of you. The weapons you brought are all here too. Each package neatly along a little box containing the quartz. Find yours and try setting the quartz into your arcus.
I suppose it can't hurt to try.
Is this what I'm thinking? Let's see. Mine is that.
Oh, I see mine over there. Let me just go grab it, okay?
Okay then, for those who have stayed long enough, I'm sure you can surmise from this first episode that these games are going to be heavily story oriented. There's going to be a good chunk of battles in them, but for now, I think this is a good spot to end up leaving off. So, for those who are still here, don't be afraid to go back to the light. But make sure you return to the Cloak of the Dark. And with that, I shall see you all next time. Goodbye. And I pressed the wrong button.